on target. Almost there. Stay on target. They're right behind me. Almost there.
Hello and welcome to this edition of Yakima on Target. I'm here with Neil McClure, the chairman of the Yakima Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee. Neil, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure. Happy to be here.
This is kind of a short show, so we'll just jump into it. Tell me about the Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee. How did it come about? What is the Bicycle and Pedestrian?
Well, it's actually been in some kind of iteration. It's been in existence in Yakima for quite a number of years. Its first iteration was probably more than a decade ago, and it was formed to help the city implement some part of the Growth Management Act. And in so doing, we realized that Yakima has a lot of pedestrians, has a lot of cyclists, we have a lot of cars. Yeah. It's a transportation system that has lots of interactions. And really the focus of the committee, and especially the focus of it now, is to make sure the interactions between all of our modes of transportation work more smoothly. And so here we are on the Bicycle Pedestrian Advisory Committee, focusing on the issues that really affect cyclists and pedestrians and how they interact with cars. How our development standards fit in together to make a safe interaction with all of these different modes of transportation. It's really part of an urban life. And the Yakima has a Bicycle Pedestrian Committee, which I have the pleasure to chair, to help advise the city on relatively in-depth looks at what makes pedestrian motorist interactions better, what makes access to our businesses more effective for pedestrians and cyclists and motorists. And it's a great working group. We have, I think there's seven members. One of them is mandated by the council to be a representative of the Yakima Greenway because it's a great trail system surrounding our community. And we're working together, bringing our various talents and backgrounds to try to give the city good advice and on how to make our transportation system work together.
And this version of the committee's been around for 2 years,
Just
right?
2 years, yeah.
And you guys actually, was it this summer you came up with a bicycle plan, isn't that correct?
That's right. It was, again, something that the council had been moving forward on.
Right.
And and we as a committee were formed 2 years ago, and really it was part of our first big project to really focus on, and again, removing this work from the council so that they could focus on the many other issues within their prerogatives. Knowing that there was a good group of people that were looking at this specific aspect. And so we really helped them and worked really hard on the nitty-gritty, deep diving stuff.
And how to drill down.
And that's drilled down to make a bicycle plan to be a good tool to help the engineering department implement policy of the city council, making life better for our citizens. And the crazy part about all these committees, and because I'm going to make a pitch, we have one vacancy that's coming up right now, so we'd love to get an interested citizen to come forward. But it really is a great way to understand, honestly, the complications of government.
Right. Yeah. How the city works, how committees work, how to get things in front of the council.
Exactly, and then it's how to fund stuff.
Right.
I mean, I'm unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, but I'm steeped in business, and as maybe people might know, I have some experience in government, and it's hard to look at any of these issues without understanding the financial burden that every decision carries a financial burden.
Yeah.
And the question is, how can we, and we focus on this as a committee, how can we implement this the most efficient way possible? How can we give good suggestions to the council on things that we think would work for bicycle and pedestrian interest, and yet also be something that is affordable for the council. And boy, that's a tough nut to crack too, because everybody knows that money's always tight in government. Yeah. It really is. And
allocating it to different places, everybody has an idea of where the money should go, right?
You should have been at our meeting today. Well, you were at our meeting today. You know exactly what it was. It's like, how do we come up with, we're looking now, we helped implement and got approved by council the bicycle plan that goes into the transportation master plan, but the city of Yakima is missing a specific pedestrian plan.
Exactly. That was my next question, is what are you guys going to work on?
So. Well, and that's the next step we're looking at, is how do we move forward and get, again, a comprehensive plan so that we efficiently make our community work better with pedestrians.
Right.
And you can't, if you don't have a plan, you're kind of just shooting in the dark, and sometimes you hit the target, but sometimes you miss. It's better to have a plan. And so we're working right now on trying to move forward with a pedestrian plan.
Right.
But again, we're not professional planners. We're just citizens that are bringing our passion and our expertise for making Yakima a better place.
And a safer place.
And a safer place,
for
absolutely.
people to walk.
And absolutely. And so in doing that, it's like, okay, you've got to get experts involved. Well, everybody knows experts have to earn a living too.
Yes,
and
they
so
do.
suddenly now you're looking at how do you come up with the money to fund the background expertise to make this work. And though the city has great people that could probably do this job as good as anybody in the country, every city employee has plenty of work to do right now.
And they're not pedestrian experts.
And
So
they're not
they're
pedestrian
planners, they're
experts.
city municipal planners. And some of that stuff takes a real expert to look at how people walk and where they walk, right?
Exactly, in order to make it more efficient, spending of dollars, making the system work the best way possible. And so we're coming up, you know, in a personal life, it could be a huge amount of money, but we think the bike plan costs, I think it was $70,000, and it was funded a number of years ago. And we think the pedestrian, is it $50,000 or is it $60,000 or $70,000? We're going to be working at our next meetings on narrowing the scope of it. But then where does that money come from? I mean, it's tight.
Yeah.
And in a budget, you know, it's easy to say, well, in a budget of $220 million or whatever the city budget is nowadays, I think it's $64 million within what's discretionary kind of stuff with police and fire and things. It's like, well, that'd be easy to find 40,000, but it's not.
Yeah, every penny counts.
Every penny counts. And so we don't want to be somebody just going to city council with, you know, shaking our fingers at them saying, why aren't you doing the right thing for our group?
Or with your hand out asking for money.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that when we approach the council, we want to approach it with a plan of how to do it. And that's what's so much fun.
And a good comprehensive plan.
A comprehensive plan of how it would be funded, what the priorities of the plan would be. And by having a committee like this, we have an opportunity to do that. And we have an opportunity for citizens to be involved with this government and with the council to help them better prioritize monies or effective prioritization of monies within their budgets. It's a great tool for the council. It's a great thing for the citizens that want to be involved to be involved. You really do get to learn the complications of governance, but also you learn that if you aren't pushing at it, if you aren't looking for ways to make it work, it just doesn't get done very effectively. Right. So it's fun to have a committee like this, a great group of people, good staff support, and we're trying to make this community a little bit better for bicyclists and pedestrians, and basically the interaction of and to me it's always just the interaction of the transportation system. Right. I mean, I'm a cyclist and I do a lot of walking, but believe me, I drive more than either one of those. And so I have a great understanding that this is an integration of a system. Right. And that helps our businesses, it helps our students, it helps our seniors. I mean, a well-functioning integrated transportation system really works better for everybody. And that's what makes Yakima great. You know, that's what continues to make Yakima a better and better place, making it better.
One thing I'd like to talk about that we've been talking about and that I will be hopefully helping a little bit is the education component of this and informing the public, and which is what we're doing right now. We're trying to talk to the residents and tell them what safety is, and we're looking at some PSAs to get that word out. Can you talk about that just a little bit?
Absolutely, because you know, and then education has just gone in a completely different world. Right. PSAs used to be are and still are a way to get information out to people. Right. But the old system of PSA was to give a audio recording to the radio stations and give a video recording to the TV stations and hope that somebody was awake at 2:30 in the morning when they rent them. Exactly. But now we've got so many great venues to get information out with. So the social media system is so much better. So that's one of the other things we're going to be working on. We're going to try to partner with YV Tech, hopefully. Hear that, YV Tech? We sort of talked about you. To maybe help us put together some PSAs, some video PSAs. Right. I know there's been some work with the police department's done some fun stuff with some things they put on Facebook. I think they did something with, correct me, it was kind of a rapping thing on, what were they even
It
rapping
was the
about?
lip sync challenge.
A lip sync challenge with the Yakima Police Department.
Yeah.
So popular, it's had at least 400,000 to maybe 500,000 views by
Almost
now.
half a million views.
So I'm really pushing for a rapping PSA for bicycle pedestrian safety.
We'll see. And hopefully you will see some of that on TV and on our social media efforts. And we are always, I know at the City of Yakima, pedestrian safety is very important to all of us. I live in the City of Yakima. I walk through the streets. Kids, we ride our bikes and stuff. And so it's very important to get this information out there. And it's important to have committees like this to give the direction and to have experts out there. So I want to thank you very much for that.
Believe me, it's my pleasure. And Yakima has lots of challenges, but it also has lots of great opportunities.
Right.
And so I know as a pedestrian and a cyclist, we have a lot of things we can do. Everyone knows there's a lot of areas of town that don't have sidewalks, and there's a lot of even arterials that don't have it. But as we all work together, focus on making Yakima a better place, whether it be the community is working so hard for this. The citizens of this community is working so hard for it at all times. It's exciting to be part of that.
Right.
So I enjoy it very much.
So that's the next question I have to shift away from bicycle and pedestrian. Let's talk about Yakima. You were on the city council. You've been a resident of Yakima for a very long time.
Yeah.
What could Yakima focus on? What do we need to focus on now and into the future? What do you think?
Well, I love the changes that are happening in Yakima. I mean, you would really have to be in a box not to see how Yakima is changing.
Right.
And it is exciting to see the young people the young professionals stay in Yakima now. The fruit industry is so different than it was when I was younger. There's a lot more demand for expertise.
Right.
And so I've seen that in our community. My son's is now managing my business, helping me manage my business, and to see his reach into the community and all of his friends, how Yakima is changing. What do we need to do? Man, I think as long as we stay focused on what a great community we have and just continue to dump with a mindset that, oh, Yakima.
Right.
Forget, oh, Yakima. I mean, it's, oh, Yakima.
Right.
Because it really is changing, and it's done by so many people. I mean, it's the I Heart Yakima group. It's just been an outstanding asset for promoting our community, and we have a thriving art community. I'll pitch something else I'm involved with is YBC. I mean, as a community, colleges are so incredibly valuable to communities, and we literally have probably one of the best ones in the country.
Yeah. And the upgrades they've done just facilities-wise.
It's just unbelievable.
It's changed the face of Central Yakima.
It has, and it's another place to get education, and of course education is a really strong component of any community, and that's what employers want. And I'm not skipping over businesses. Right. I think an environment that encourages businesses really works, and yet those businesses, they have to want to locate to Yakima. And that's what we do with quality of life. And whether it's bicycle and pedestrian facilities, which young people, I mean, urban communities love that stuff. I mean, there's people in the west side and in larger communities that don't even have cars because they're so focused on the urban experience. And I mean, we're seeing that in Yakima. Yakima is changing, and the further we put behind us the poor Yakima scenario, the better it is. And boy, believe me, it's not poor Yakima anymore. Yakima is a great community.
Attitude
it really
is everything.
Attitude really is everything. And yet it's not a fool's errand either. There's really exciting things going on in Yakima. I mean, with the aquatic center coming into fruition, obviously Soho out in the West Valley area, that's going to be huge for our community. It's going to bring lots of people to our community. The wine and beer industry is just continuing to flourish. I talked to any one of the owners of the wineries, and I bet it's probably even close to the beer companies too, is that most of their business is out of town because people are coming to Yakima because they love Yakima. I mean, talk to the realtors. They've got people coming from the west side continually moving to Yakima because they want to live in Yakima. It's a great community, and I remember that when I was on council, I got it all the time how many I'd bump into people because of my reach into the government and from out of the area, and every one of them, just virtually to a person, was like, "Well, Yakima is so cool. This is such a jewel." And believe me, Yakima really is, and I just see it getting better. I don't know. I'm I'm not somebody that says if we did this, it'd be perfect. No,
Right.
no, no. I really believe that we just have to focus on doing everything just a little bit better, keep the attitude really strong.
Keep moving forward.
Keep moving forward, and in 3 years, 5 years, you look back and you say, "Wow, we're really going there."
There really have
And
been
we
some
are.
changes. Yes, we are. So.
This is a great community.
And it takes people like you to help move us forward. So
I love
communities like Bike Ped and all of that. So.
It makes, again, all the parts moving together.
Yeah,
It really
exactly.
works.
Well, I appreciate you joining me today.
My pleasure,
Thank
believe
you very
me.
much, and we'll talk more about Bike Ped and other issues, I'm sure, in the future. So.
We'll get that rapping video out. Man.
Yes, exactly. So, okay, thank you for joining me today.
My pleasure.
And thank you all for joining us.
Thank you so much.
For more information about the City of Yakima Bicycle and Pedestrian Advisory Committee, contact City of Yakima Planning Manager Joseph Calhoun by email at joseph.calhoun@yakimawa.gov. Bicycle and Pedestrian Committee meetings also air on YPAC Channel 194 Charter Cable and can be viewed online from the YPAC schedule page.